Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and you're tuned to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It's November 22nd, 2024, and we've got a boatload of technology to share with you. If you've been following the reels to the week, I know you're going to be excited about today's show. Why don't you guys take this moment to go grab yourself something delicious from your kitchen or the fridge or what have you. Could be a drink, could be something hot, something cold, maybe something sweet, maybe leftover Halloween candy, or maybe just some water or healthy fruit. Tonight's topic is From AI to Antitrust, the game-changing headline shaping our digital world. We're on Series 3, Show 48, and welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so get ready, everyone, for a deep dive into the biggest tech news for this episode of the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I'm talking about groundbreaking AI developments to jaw-dropping lawsuits and major moves in cybersecurity and major moves in cyber worlds that can affect not just you, but the entire universe. This episode is packed with insights you can't afford to miss, so stay tuned because we're ready to get going. All right. So you can always catch the episodes later at believemeachieve.com, and not just the tech episodes. There's so much more stuff you can catch. First thing I want to talk about is the Google Gemini AI Assistant. It now lands, yes, on the iPhone. All right, so this is the AI Assistant by Google. It's called Gemini Live, and Google has launched a standalone Gemini app for iPhone, making its AI-powered virtual assistant more accessible on Apple's devices. The new app allows iPhone users to experience Gemini Live, a conversational AI, outside of the Google app or browser, making a significant step in Google's strategy to broaden its AI ecosystem. This move aligns with Apple's approach to integrating multiple AI platforms. As seen its visual intelligence tool, despite its expanded presence on iOS, Gemini remains more deeply integrated into Android, serving as the default assistant and interacting directly with on-screen content. But they are trying to make some moves into the iOS world. All right, number two, Meta was slammed with a $797 million fine by the European Union. Ouch, ouch, ouch. For Facebook Marketplace abuses. The European Commission fined Meta £797.72 million. That's $840.24 million for breaching the European Union's antitrust rules by linking Facebook Marketplace to its social network, therefore disadvantaging other online classified services. The decision follows a 2-year investigation into Meta's practices, which the European Union deemed unfairly tied Marketplace to Facebook and imposed restrictive conditions on competitors. Meta, which plans to appeal, argued that users can choose whether to engage with Marketplace and that the Commission found no evidence of harm to competitors. The fine highlights ongoing regulatory scrutiny of tech giants' competitive practices. So the thing about Facebook, Amazon, or Google, or any of these big tech giants is that they might have a way to turn it off, but it's not blatantly obvious. In fact, it's usually like 5 million screens in, right? All right. And here's one I think this is interesting. The German soccer club, St. Pauli, they quit X over hate speech concerns. So The German soccer club, St. Pauli, has withdrawn from X, formerly known as Twitter, citing concerns over the platform's role as an amplifier, quote unquote, of hate under Elon Musk's ownership. The club criticized X for fostering unchecked racism, conspiracy theories, and hate speech, which it believes could impact Germany's upcoming snap elections. And St. Pauli, known for its progressive values and activism, joins other media outlets like The Guardian and La Vanguardia in abandoning X due to similar concerns. While the club will no longer post, it will leave its 11-year archive on the platform for historical value. So that's important. Just had to get some water here, guys. And I think they're really starting to set a message forward to the fact that, people need to be cognizant, and also X needs to be responsible and accountable for what's going on. And they have to remove things in a timely fashion if there are things like hate. And Apple, ladies and gentlemen, faces a £3 billion lawsuit in the United Kingdom. Ouch, I would not want to be Apple. So Apple's accused of trapping 40 million iCloud users. That's right, Apple is facing a legal claim from consumer groups, which for allegedly trapping 40 million British iCloud customers into service and charging them excessive prices. The lawsuit, which could lead to £3 billion payout, accuses Apple of locking users into its iCloud system since 2015 and overcharging them for storage, which argues that Apple's restrictions on third-party services are anti-competitive, while Apple denies these claims. I'm sure you know that, insisting that its practices are not anti-competitive and that users are free to use alternative services. The case is part of a growing trend of legal actions against major tech companies. This reminds me of something a while back that Apple did. People said, you can't fix your iPhone, right? Well, yes, Apple will now let you fix your own iPhone. You borrow their tools. And so this is how they got around it. So basically, they charge $49. Apple will now let you rent the tools you need to repair your iPhone 12 or 13, etc. Apple's self-service repair program is available, and you're allowed to fix your own iPhone. The question is, will Apple let you fix your iPhone 16? Well, all the parts, tools, and instructions you need are available to purchase or rent from Apple's self-service repair store. A couple of months after the launch, iPhone 16 is now joining the program, and Apple has now added the self-repair support for iPhone 16. iPhone 16 Plus, iPhone 16 Pro, and iPhone 16 Pro Max. So this is kind of crazy, right? So what is the Apple self-repair kit? I just want to get into this for a minute because I think it's really important. So you would go to support.apple.com, and it's self-service repair. They have the repair manual, and you're able to repair your parts, and they give you the tools you need to do that. So how this works is Apple basically ships you about a 79-pound repair kit to fix a 1.1 ounce battery. And a lot of people are saying, I'm starting to think that Apple doesn't want us to repair them. And so Apple, from a lot of people, is getting the flack that they must be joking. And this is how a lot of people felt, when they had to jump through all the hoops after the ridiculous jumping to replace a battery in your iPhone. Part of it was the repair process. Mostly it was a little bit challenging for people that had not repaired any Apple before. And Apple launched the self-service repair program, letting customers fix broken screens, batteries, and cameras on the latest iPhones. Apple's own parts and tools, for the first time ever, are now allowed to consumers. People were so excited about this, but the thing is, it's crazy the tools that Apple ships you so that you can actually fix your phone. I mean, they're literally shipping you like almost two little small refrigerators. and you're renting their tools, right? Step one of opening an iPhone is basically using a hefty machine to suck the screen off of the top. Um, Pretty cool, right? uh, so what it is there is this apparatus to loosen the Apple goop, basically holding your screen down. And Apple lets you rent an industrial grade heat station that looks like a piece of lab equipment, right down to the big red safety towel you twist to release the emergency off button and the suction cup tipped mechanical lifting arm. Looks pretty cool, right? So you slip your phone into a perfectly sized heating pocket. The clamps come on the ring of the copper around the iPhone's band to evenly distribute the heat and melt the seal around the screen, realizing in the horror that you've invited, yes, the hot pockets to live in your head rent-free, and then spin a dial to raise the arm that separates the iPhone screen from its body. So pretty interesting, right? The manual doesn't cover everything. You actually have to spin a second hidden knob to put more pressure on the suction cup, but a lot of people will freak out when they see that it looks like basically spider cracks across the screen. It turns out it's just suction cup residue, so you can rest assured you are fine. Once the screen is loose, you cut through the softened glue, holding it to the iPhone's frame with Apple's single tiny adhesive cutter, which will give you some trouble the first time. The blade can get caught when it's wedged in the corners, and you may have to yank it out without accidentally sending your phone clattering to the ground. After you've got through those simple steps, you have to slide the display slightly toward the bottom of the iPhone. Then you insert the edge of the adhesive cutter into the top of the iPhone between the display and the enclosure, holding the adhesive cutter at a 45-degree angle, starting at the middle and cutting along the top and sides of the iPhone until the display is free. That's a lot of steps, right? That is a lot of steps. So getting to the iPhone's battery is not the easiest thing. I really believe that they could have designed this phone so you could have changed your battery easily. But Apple just didn't do that. And because they didn't want to get sued, they now give you a way to repair your own iPhone. I mean, that's just crazy. So you swap out the battery pretty easily, right? And once you probably finished yelling and screaming, you're ready to plop in the new battery. Then the next set of instructions take fold. You have to use the pre-cut adhesive sheet designed to stick the screen back to the frame, which is easy to slot into the exact place. And then you have the huge spring-loaded press, and with a variable slot machine of an arm to close the phone once more, again with the frame afterwards, perhaps due to extra glue that maybe you didn't manage to remove properly. With the phone closed up again, you hold down the power button and nothing. No bright white Apple logo, no response at all. For one horrible moment, you realized Apple has given you no way to test whether the battery and display connectors were actually seated. They probably weren't. And yes, you closed the phone too early. Then, of course, maybe the replacement battery was shipped empty. Nope. Scrambling around your office for a lightning cable and or the USB cable, depending on whether you have the brand new 14 or higher. You're not done yet. The single most frustrating part of the process after using Apple's genuine parts is the Apple's genuine tools. And yes, the iPhone didn't recognize the genuine battery as genuine. A known part flashed a warning, apparently that it's the case for almost all of these parts. You're expected to dial up Apple's third-party logistics company after the repair so they can validate the part for you. And that's a process in itself, which involves having a lot of patience and a separate computer and Wi-Fi so you can do that, which of course defeats the whole process of repairing your own device. And if you don't believe me, well, just go ahead and try this and wait for Apple to ship you this beautiful 79 pounds of equipment to your home or office so you can attempt to repair your phone. It would probably be an understatement to say that Apple has a history of resisting the right to repair efforts. Before iPhone, replacing a battery was typically as easy as inserting a thumbnail to pop off your phone's back cover. Afterwards, phones largely became tricky to even open without specialized tools, which is probably arguably pushing customers to replace their perfectly good devices when they might have only needed a new screen or battery. So this is really an issue. Um, yes, $69 for a new battery, $49 to rent the Apple tools for a week. Um, More than wiping out any refund that you might get for returning the old used part. A $1,200 credit card hold for the toolkit, which you probably would want to forfeit if the tools weren't returned within 7 days of delivery. Well, yep, they're going to do that. And this is a ridiculous amount of risk for the average person who just wants to put a new battery in their phone. Now, I'm an engineer, so yes, I probably can tackle this, and it's straightforward. But you got to do it a few times to be comfortable with it. And frankly, it's weird for Apple to insist on you covering the full value of the tools. It's not like when you rent a car, they make you put down $20,000 as a safety deposit. I should also mention they send you a Pelican case landing at your door 2 days before the battery arrives. So you only have 5 days to do the job before that $1,200 deadline will be subtracted from your card. $1.80 for the display adhesive, 2 pieces. Battery and screw kit, $69. And replaced part return credit, $24.15. Price after the credit, $44.85. Security screw, 2 pieces, 15 cents. And the iPhone 13 mini toolkit, $49 for the 7 days. The more you think about it, I know that I think about it, the more you'll probably realize that Apple's self-repair program is a joke and a perfect way to make it look like the company supports the right to repair policies without actually encouraging them at all. Apple can say it's giving customers access to everything, even the same tools its technicians use, while scaring them away with high prices, complexity, and the risk of losing a $1,200 deposit. This way, Apple gets credit for walking you through an 80-page repair instead of building phones where, say, you don't need to remove the phone's most delicate components and 2 different types of security screws just to replace a battery. Yes, I think Apple has never really wanted us to change the battery, and they were hoping that this would probably, let's say, at least discourage you, if not completely change your mind about wanting to replace your own battery or parts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and my next story is a really good one. Intel. Yes, we haven't talked about Intel in a while, but we're going to talk about Intel. Intel did something really interesting. It's the great American, basically, chip micro drive, right? The great American microchip drive. So the U.S. is making a concerted effort to boost domestic microchip manufacturing, highlighted by Intel's planned $28 billion investment in Ohio. This initiative is rooted in national security concerns due to reliance on foreign chip makers, especially amid recent global shortages. Mary Sprigowski, an auto worker from Lorain, Ohio, advocated for bringing chip production to her struggling hometown, emphasizing its abundant water resources. However, Intel ultimately selected New Albany for its new facilities. The project's success is overshadowed by Intel's existing financial difficulties, including layoffs and a falling stock price, raising questions about the future of U.S. semiconductor manufacturing. I think we've got to get our stuff down pat, and we got to figure out how do we repair at a way that we can do it efficiently, make money, and not gouge the American people. Yeah, that's a big, big issue, ladies and gentlemen. And Amazon, yes, Amazon launches a discount storefront. It's called, quote unquote, the Amazon Haul. That's HAUL, with items under $20. Amazon has launched a new storefront called the Amazon Haul to offer low-cost products primarily priced under $20, aiming to compete with discount retailers like Shine and Temu. featuring items mostly under $10 with free shipping on orders over $25. The platform sources products from a warehouse in China and includes unbranded goods such as phone cases and clothing. As part of its strategy to promote affordability, Amazon emphasizes crazy low prices, but faces potential challenges from the Biden administration's plan to enforce stricter regulations on cheap imports from China, which could lead to price increases and affect its competitive pricing strategy in the e-commerce market. I mean, doesn't Amazon have enough money? I mean, do they have to try to be everything to anyone? I think that's a really, really serious problem. And I think it's a terrible idea. I mean, the fact that they want to they're getting into the medical world, I think they're just really monopolizing too much. That's my own personal belief. I'm curious about your thoughts. Definitely let me know. And ladies and gentlemen, here is a very interesting one. New York City congestion pricing to return to the New York City with reduced tolls. So New York's congestion pricing plan will return with a reduced toll of $9, down from the original $15 for cars entering Manhattan below 60th Street during peak hours. The new plan is set to begin on January 5th, 2025, and will offer discounts for low-income drivers and those entering Manhattan after 9 p.m. Governor Kathy Hochul paused the plan in June to support lower Manhattan's post-pandemic recovery. The tolls are expected to raise $15 billion to fund improvements to the MTA, including electric buses, station upgrades, and subway extensions. However, New Jersey's Governor Phil Murphy remains opposed, continuing to challenge the plan in court. Ooh, that's just crazy. So, when congestion happens, they're going to raise the tolls. And the CFPB aims to place Google under bank-like supervision. Yes, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is reportedly seeking to place Google under federal supervision, potentially subjecting the tech giant to the same oversights as banks. This move still will be now in the early stages, and it's raised concerns from the tech industry, with some arguing it could be an overreach of the CFPB's authority. The agency has already expanded its focus to digital payment providers like Google, particularly due to complaints about unauthorized charges related to Google services. However, with President-elect Donald Trump set to influence the CFPB's direction in January, the initiative may be impacted by the upcoming leadership change. We're going to have to see what's happening with that, ladies and gentlemen. I know I am definitely curious. Are you? And the massive T-Mobile hack. Yes, the Chinese cyber attack breaches telecom networks. T-Mobile's network was reportedly compromised in a significant Chinese cyber espionage campaign targeting multiple U.S. and international telecom companies, according to the Wall Street Journal. The breach linked to a Chinese intelligence agency aimed to spy on communications of high-value intelligence targets. While T-Mobile stated that its systems and customer data remained largely unaffected, the attack is part of a broader pattern of Chinese hackers infiltrating U.S. telecom networks, including Verizon and AT&T, to intercept surveillance data. Beijing denies these allegations as scrutiny over cybersecurity threats continue to escalate. That's going to be very, very, very interesting. And here's one I think you guys are going to love. The Equinox reveals data breach exposing health information of clients and staff. So Equinox, the counseling and health services firm, revealed a data breach that may have compromised the personal health information of clients and staff, including sensitive details like social security numbers and financial data. This was discovered on April 29th, not too long ago, but they do eventually catch up with people, and the breach involved unauthorized access to internal files, prompting an independent forensic investigation. The company has since enhanced its security measures to prevent future incidents. The disclosure adds to the growing list of cybersecurity challenges across industries, highlighting the critical need for robust data protection. I think a lot of these companies out there, they believe they're secure, but they don't keep doing audits. They don't make sure that, things are safe. I think, you need to keep taking the temperature on technology, make sure things are working in an appropriate manner, because if they're not, I think that could be a huge, huge problem. I mean, a really, really huge problem. I I don't know why, but this is a really, really, really big problem. And so if we don't get the right eyes and the right solutions on things, then this is a serious, serious issue. Very serious in the sense that I think a lot of people don't understand like what this could mean. And so I know you're probably saying, John, like, how does this happen? Why does this happen? I think it's because people are too much in a rush to get things a certain way, right? And I think if we can become more cognizant of things, of why things happen a certain way, why they happen a different way, I think that is a huge, huge problem for everyone. And so how is it that we need to change this? I think we change by adapting what's going on. I think that's probably the biggest thing I can tell you is that we have to keep checking in. And we check in by making sure, ladies and gentlemen, that things are the right way. And so that means having a policy, having a procedure. And if we don't do that, then there's a big, big problem, guys. And we're already seeing some of these ramifications of what's happening, right? Like this thing with Equinox. And, the fact that it's not just the patient's data, it's the staff's data. True story. I was going to file my taxes last year. And I have all these safeties and securities of a million different ways and 3-factor authentication, everything. And so my identity, everything's all protected. But what they did do was there was a breach with one of the payroll companies. And they got my social security number and they filed a fraudulent return. I later straightened it out. But the thing is, we need to be vigilant about these things. We need to make sure that there are checks and balances. I think that's a serious problem. And we can't wait until suddenly it causes a legal issue or until it causes harm. I think that's a really, I think that's a big thing. And Putin, Putin, yes, he wants to address the YouTube disruptions, the Kremlin says. Russian President Vladimir Putin is investigating reported YouTube disruptions in Russia following concerns raised by Mosfilm head Karen Shakhanashvili. Critics allege the deliberate interference to restrict access to content critical of government, but the Kremlin attributes the issue to Google's failure to upgrade equipment. A claim denied by Google, while Roskosnadzor, Russia's communications regulator, reports no service changes. YouTube remains a crucial platform for millions of Russians, including opposition voices and independent news. Putin has promised to review the matter. Now, if you're still wondering, why is YouTube blocking Russia? And the big concern is this really something going on? More than 135 regional internet providers have began terminating their contracts because of disruptions to website, including YouTube. Disruption has caused significant unrest among users who rely heavily on the platform for learning and entertainment. So to tackle these slowdowns and the subsequent loss of subscriber contracts, regional operators had been deploying software to speed up internet access for their customers and bypassing government restrictions. In response to government agency issues directives to regional operators to comply with immediately and the restrictions. So they warned that companies seeking ways to speed up YouTube access risk losing their licenses without a trial. The warning has added to internet users' growing concerns. Media outlets, however, have been relatively quiet on the issue. The government's official explanation attributes the disruptions to equipment problems with Google. Many Russians, however, remain skeptical and increasingly dissatisfied. For now, users have found workarounds such as VPNs or mobile internet sharing to maintain access. However, there is a mounting of worry that the government may impose more severe restrictions in the future. Russians favor YouTube over Russian television. The slowdown is highly significant, not least because of increasingly Russians have been watching YouTube rather than television. Even as far as 2019, a Russian public opinion researcher center, VCIOM, survey found that Russians considered YouTube the TV of the 21st century. And more than half of the respondents, 58%, were YouTube users, with 25% using it almost daily and 19% several times a week. So, we still got to see what's happening, why they're doing things, but I think it comes down to more than what they're saying. I really do. So hopefully we'll get the truth out of that shortly. And another great story that I think you guys are really going to want to sink your teeth into. FTC's Holyoke warns of AI collecting kids' data. The FTC Commissioner, Melissa Holyoke, expressed concerns over how artificial intelligence protects, collect, and using data from younger users, highlighting privacy and safety risks. She called for the agency to examine its authority and actions regarding AI's data practices involving children. Holyoke questioned who collects and holds this data, using the Federal Trade Commission to ensure AI tools comply with privacy regulations, especially under COPPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. She also suggested the FCC take a careful approach to AI oversight without being overly restrictive. Yeah, I think this is an ongoing challenge for many, and we're just going to have to see, what's going on. I think it's definitely a really, really big concern for everyone, and I think we're just going to have to see what they're doing and what's happening. But we'll have to just stay tuned. And ladies and gentlemen, Casio. Yes, Casio debuts a smart ring with a stopwatch and a flashing alarm. Casio has unveiled its first smart ring, the CRW-001-1JR, a tiny digital watch commemorating 50 years of its digital timepiece legacy. Priced at about $128, the ring features a retro LCD display, stopwatch, date, time, zone functions, and a flashing alarm. It boosts a stainless steel case and a 2-year battery life. Unlike stretchable alternatives, it comes in a fixed US size 10.5 with spacers for smaller fingers. Launching in Japan this December, the ring follows last year's non-functional models, marking a step forward in the wearable innovation. I think a lot of people are going to want to get this new ring, and it's probably going to be a big issue for the holidays with supply and demand because they're probably only going to make so many. So we'll have to wait and see, what's going on and what they're doing. But it is interesting that they made something. My only question is, if they make something like this, how do you actually wear it? And is somebody really going to be able to look at that finger to look at the time? I think that's going to be annoying. And ladies and gentlemen, Russia fines Google 20 quindecillion. Wow. Let me say that again. Quindecillion. Russia has fined Google an astronomical 20 quindecillion. I know you're probably asking me, how many zeros is in quindecillion? There's a lot. 1 quindecillion is followed by 48 zeros. Oh my gosh, that's a large number. So Russia's fined Google an astronomical 20 quindecillion, and citing its refusal to unblock pro-Russian YouTube channels as ordered by a Russian court. The fine, which dwarfs the global GDP of 110 trillion, has been doubling weekly as a symbolic penalty, according to Kremlin officials. Despite the staggering amount, Google maintains that these legal matters won't significantly impact its earnings following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Google paused many of its operations in Russia, but continues to offer services like search and YouTube. So the issue is some politics with Google. That could be a big problem. And, as we dive into this, next week, which we're coming into Thanksgiving, and I thought I'd give you some Thanksgiving tech news for the year, because I think this is really important, is talking about Thanksgiving. I'll call it Thanksgiving technology. And so a lot of times people think about Thanksgiving technology as technology that you want to be grateful and thankful for. The travel expected is going to set a new record. The AAA newsroom projects a 79.9 million set of travelers will head 50 miles or more from home over Thanksgiving. So TSA is ready for the busiest Thanksgiving travel period on record ever. So the question you might be asking is, so what are Thanksgiving technology gadgets? Well, I thought I would share a couple with you. So when we think about, what gadgets you need for hosting, Thanksgiving, a pocket-sized grocery shopping assistant. Maybe, you want to use this so that it can basically help you get the right things. There's times when you just don't want to wing it, right? So forgetting the sweet potatoes or, let's say the butter, or maybe you're forgetting dessert or whatever it is, that pie, really can come in handy. The shopping button. This smart device can scan barcodes of items that you need to replace, or you can dictate what you need, and it will upload your comprehensive shopping list into the Haiku app. And it's only $43.99. A smart sous chef is great if you want to have the perfectly cooked carrots, or that mouth-watering homemade cranberry sauce, or a culinary broth, sous vide, precision cooker, and maybe help you whip up a great Thanksgiving dish with minimal effort. Just set the temperature, prep the ingredients, and let the best sous vide cooker ever take place. The sous vide is only $149. A multi-use pressure cooker is also good, and it has a built-in app, so you can monitor, manage, and control it pretty easily. That is definitely cool. A smart scale to bake better desserts, and yes, it has an app to it. An app-controlled vacuum for the last-minute cleanup. All right. And a meat thermometer to keep tabs on the bird. And yes, it communicates to an app. A movable speaker for dinner time tunes. A coffee maker you can control from anywhere. A smart air purifier to keep things fresh and healthy. A connected racing set to keep kids entertained. So what I want to encourage you all to do is, next week will be Thanksgiving. And so the next time you're going to see and hear me on the JMOR Tech Talk will be the 29th, which will be the day after Thanksgiving. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to wish you a very happy, healthy, safe, wonderful, and relaxing Thanksgiving. And I want to ask you to do one important thing this Thanksgiving. If you have never done it before, do it anyway. Unplug from technology, at least while you're at the table. So that means when you're there, turn off your cell phones, or at least, ladies and gentlemen, put your cell phone on vibe and enjoy the time with your family. Maybe play a board game. It could be an electronic board game, but disconnect from the internet for a little while. Maybe get up in the morning. Maybe you watch the Macy's Day Parade or something like that. But when you have Thanksgiving dinner, and even before, put away your technology. Use your inner voice and use your mind, your feelings, and your emotions to tell stories and hear the other stories of your loved ones. That's probably the best Thanksgiving gift that you can give to your friends, family, and loved ones, is to be present. So I'm going to say it once again. Make the choice, ladies and gentlemen, to unplug from technology this Thanksgiving, right? Unplug from technology this Thanksgiving. And that might sound hard. Just put down your phone, pick up the fork, and unplug the technology. Think of it like you going to a cabin where there's no electricity. Well, it's not that bad, but only use technology that's needed for your Thanksgiving dinner. Obviously, your oven, your smart timer, or maybe you even have your Bluetooth speakers and you want to pipe some music in. Do things that are going to be with your family. So I want to share something else. So what games can you play at Thanksgiving? Well, I think one great game to play, because there's a lot of games, but I want to give you some things you can do. So there's one game that a lot of people seem to play. It's called Face the Pie. You're going to need some gummy ABC letters, some pie tins, and some spray whipped cream, or real whipped cream works too. Before the party, pull out the gummy letters that spell pie for each letter. Okay. So again, you're going to basically pull out the gummy letters that spell pie for each letter. Put one letter of each of those words into an empty aluminum pie tin. So put one letter of each of these words into an empty pie tin. There's a pack of, let's say, 50 pie tins would be perfect. Fill each of those pie tins with spray whipped cream and put in the refrigerator so they don't melt while you're waiting to play. To play, players must race to eat through their pies to find the letters inside. Once they find the letters, they must unscramble them to create the Thanksgiving name word you came up with. Make sure to give each player an extra pie tin to toss their found letters into for unscrambling. So that's a fun one that's been around for a while. The Mayflower. Under the bed, storage container, small corks, fake flowers, and plastic straws. Fill one of those big, long, under-the-bed storage containers with water. Give everyone a small cork with a fake flower stuck into it, and have them put in one on the end of the storage container. So that's something fun you can do. So you're just going to have them put in one on one end of the storage container. Another one I think that's a lot of fun for people is going to be there's one called Shake Your Tail Feathers. So before the party, empty a tissue box for each player and replace the tissues with craft feathers. Tape a pair of could be pantyhose onto each box, so the box, or you could use garbage bags, what have you, in the middle of it. And to play, give each player a box tied with the bag or the pantyhose, and have them tie this hose or the bag around their waist. So the tissue box is on their backside. Okay. Players must move around and shake until all the feathers fall out of their tissue box. That's it. Definitely something to get people in the mood, right? And you can have a lot of fun with that. So these are just a couple. Another one that's kind of interesting is probably one you've heard of before. It's called the football flick. Paper footballs or mini footballs, buckets and pots, masking tape, and markers to add scores. Give each player paper footballs or these mini footballs and line up a bunch of buckets or baskets of varying lengths. Tape a number to each of the buckets. The furthest one should be 7 points, the middle should be 3 points, and the closest should be 1. Obviously, you get the idea of how you can play. So there's lots of things you can do. Each player has 1 minute to flick, like you're playing paper football. Footballs into the buckets, scoring as many points as possible, or have teams play simultaneously by using different colored footballs, and so you can get the first to be 21 points. Definitely a lot of fun. There is something called the Goblet Gobble. This one's kind of cool. So you use plastic goblets, orange ping pong balls. So you purchase glass or plastic goblets like other ones you've seen, and place one per team player on a table on the far side of the room. On the other side of the room, place an orange ping pong ball. To play, players must transfer 3 ping pong balls from the table to their goblet on the opposite side of the room. The catch is they can only touch and hold the ping pong ball between their chin and their neck. Sounds easy. It is not. A fun one is please pass the corn. You need candy corn, popsicle sticks, and a shallow bowl or pie tin. This game is played in pairs, so give each team 2 popsicle sticks, a bowl full of candy corn, and then put an empty bowl at the other side of the table. Both players should put their popsicle sticks in their mouth. To play, the player furthest from the empty bowl picks up a piece of candy corn and sticks it on the popsicle stick with their hand. They must then transfer the candy corn from their popsicle stick to their teammate's popsicle stick. That's not easy, is it? So again, let me kind of repeat this. So the player furthest from the empty bowl picks up a piece of candy corn and sticks it on the popsicle stick with their hand. They must then transfer the candy corn from their popsicle stick to their teammate's popsicle stick. No hands, just popsicle sticks held in mouths. And second teammate must transfer the piece of candy corn to the empty bowl. The team that gets the most candy corns transferred successfully into the bowl in a minute wins. That's not an easy thing to do. There's something called traffic yam, raw yams, metal spoons, and painter's tape. So give each player a raw yam, sweet potato, and have them put it on the ground on the side of the room. Players must race to get their yam from one side of the room to cross a line taped down with painter's tape on the other side of the room and get back to the starting line. Players can only move the yam by pushing it with the spoon. All right, that can be a lot of fun. Cornucopia, fake corn, empty cornucopia, and a blindfold. The game requires 2 players per team. Give 1 player on each team a large empty fake cornucopia and a blindfold. And then have them stand on one side of the room. Have the other player stand about 10 feet away and give them a bucket full of plastic or stuffed corns. You can use Indian corns like ones you see in the stores. To play, the first player must hike, football style, the corn to their teammate, who must catch 3 blindfolded, or if that's too tough, catch 1. The players can talk to each other to help direct their teammate. So that is pretty cool. And hopefully you will enjoy this, because I think if you can start connecting with your family through games, you're going to want to do this much more often. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always such a privilege, pleasure to be with you guys. Thanks so much for tuning into the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I hope you have a happy, healthy, safe, wonderful, relaxing, and amazing Thanksgiving. And I will catch you guys real soon. All right. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Good night, everyone.